Good morning and welcome to Viscount Leisure. My name's Chris and I'm going to be doing a virtual tour around this Adora caravan for you today, setting off around the outside, working our way through to the inside and finishing off with a demonstration of the motor mover which this caravan's got. And en route we'll show you where everything is, how it all operates, seeing it all operate, and some hints and tips along the way. So with no further ado, we're going to set off by the entrance door, the way into your caravan, commonly known as a habitation door in the industry. So we pull the handle back and that will open the door, clips back into position to hold it in position there so it doesn't blow closed when the breeze gets up. In the door there, it's got a fixed glazed polyplastic panel with a blackout blind to keep the light out at night, and built into the door framework is a door fly screen. I can split this door in half and half by turning that and pushing it through into that position there and back round through and closing it to give me a complete door like so. When I'm inside I can lock it in that position and unlock it from there. This has got a feature of an additional security handle or a handle to assist you to get in. So that will stop in position like so, or to lock it over to secure the door, key in, spin it up and round, pull that down, round into position, and then that comes back down and over and locks into there, and that gives you the added security on that door that you more than likely need. Again, release it over and fold it back on itself like so. Please just be careful with this. The D key doesn't come out, so it's got to be locked back into position like so, but it's been spaced out on there and on there so that it doesn't catch the side of the van. Okay, so when we put that over, it just goes back into position like so. The caravan comes with two full sets of keys, so one key fits all the lockers, all the doors on that one there. That's the one for your fiamma handle, and there's a couple of added security keys that we'll see what they do as we go around the van. Also on here is an alarm system, and I can press the close and lock, two beeps, and that's my alarm now armed on the van. So when we go in later on, we'll hear that sound and that will prove that that's working. So the next thing we come across then is straight into a locker, and this is a wet locker. It's completely separate from the van, so I can store wet items of wet equipment in here without it getting into my van. In the back side of there I've got a 240 outlet, a square pin 3 domesticated plug socket, so I can run an extension lead out through the gap in the bottom there, okay, and into my awning when I've got the awning out. So that will only work, however, once you are connected in mains electric, as we will discuss when we get round the other side very shortly. So when you've got a socket like that which is domesticated, it'll only work when you've got power on your van. If you're just running it off 12 volts and gas, that won't power that socket. Always make sure, safety, that you don't leave your extension lead out, leaving that on the ground. The ground gets damp all the year round. Water and electric doesn't mix too cleverly. The next thing we come across through is our external gas barbecue point. So it comes completely supplied with a bayonet connection like so. So if you purchase a gas barbecue, you can connect that to the hose on the barbecue, push it in as I just did there, up through, and it pushes and clicks in, open, and it'll take the gas direct off the gas bottle on the van, and then there's a little cap on the bottom there just to keep the dirt out, and close down like so. Inside your van there's a red book pack which will have all the relevant handbooks to this van that we got when we purchased it, so we're going to leave that just on the mat to remind me to put it in the book pack when we get inside the caravan. Now, standing back here, there's two things on a van that you've got four of. One is the grab handles, and that's these handles just here, and they're designed so one on each corner, an adult. We can manually move the caravan backwards, forwards, and rotate it around, and they're known as the four grab handles, one on each corner. The other thing is our corner steadies, the ones on this van that have got yellow feet. They're there to steady the van. So what we do when we get on site, we reverse, we get allocated our pitch, we reverse onto our pitch, and then we want to level the caravan. And we do this by leveling it from left to right first. And we do that by reversing it or driving up onto a leveling wedge. So if I'm low down on this side, I'd pull it up to get it level from left to right. When I'm level from left to right, I'll disconnect my car, and historically your parking bay is always the one on the left-hand side of the van as you're looking forwards. Once you're level left to right, your car's parked, please leave your family in the car and then come out and level it from front to back. And we do that by winding up and down on the jockey wheel, which will raise and lift the van from the front. So we can either lower the front or raise the back and get it level from front to back. Once I've done that, I can then go down using the Cornish Steady winding handle supplied here. Okay, and that goes in on this van from the front, just down here. There we are, so it fits onto there like so, and then I can wind my legs up and down just like that on that handle, and they're on all four corners. Now those legs there are designed to steady and stabilize the van, so once they're down, family can go in there. You've got no risk of it moving around or tipping up from the back end preferably. Okay, so the reason they're there, and they're not there, or they're not designed to lift the van, level the van, jack the van up to try and change a wheel. They're purely there to stabilise the van. We talk a lot about getting it level because it's critical the van is level. The main reason is the fridge, and we'll discuss the reasons why when we get round to the fridge very shortly. Secondly is the grey water, i.e. the wastewater from your wash hand basin, kitchen sink and shower. It flows that much better when your van is level. Also, it helps you in the van. You'll soon know if it's out of true, so it's always advantageous for yourself as well. The next thing we come to, LPG gas locker. It's known as your gas locker in the front of the van, and you can see by lifting that up, it also gives you access for storage of other items of equipment, i.e. our corner steady winder, which will clip up on those clips up there very shortly. Okay, your spare wheel is secured in the front, and you've got a position for 2 gas bottles which you would have strapped in. This is my gas bottle. It doesn't come with a van. It's the one I use for doing films and demonstrations and checking my vans like so. So you would, when you get your gas, make sure it's strapped in top and bottom, tighten it up, and then it's in nicely and secured. From your gas bottle there, it comes through the hose. Now this is plumbed up for propane, which is a red gas. The reason we use red is because it doesn't freeze in the winter. The blue butane bottles tend to. So it comes via an isolating valve in the top of the red bottle. Open is anti-clockwise, close is clockwise, through the hose up through the regulator. The regulator reduces bottle pressure down to van working pressure, and then off it goes through a series of valves in the van, and they are isolating valves, so each and every appliance that operates on gas inside your caravan can be independently isolated. Some do's and don'ts now. Do always make sure your bottle's secured in. Do always make sure you close your bottle before you travel. Don't travel with your bottle open. The reason we suggest that is because should you have a problem or a risk or get involved in an incident, if you were to rupture a gas pipe, it would be putting that gas into that incident situation. So always switch your bottle off before you drive off. Point to note, tip, is the valve, the connection that connects the gas bottle to the bottle is a back to front thread. So that goes clockwise to undo it, anti-clockwise to tighten it up. One further little tip on this is, once you open your bottle for the very first time, go in and light the hobs on your cooker. The reason I suggest this is it purges the system through, gets out of any air, and it's the only visual sign that you've got gas running and burning. So it's a good idea. That way you know you've got gas. When you come to light other appliances, you're almost guaranteed that they'll light first time every time. So that is your front locker there. Little clips just there like so for your handle to store in like that. Also stored in the front is an A-frame cover that comes with the caravan, and a length of grey water hose to take the drainage from the van into the waste container we'll discuss in a moment. Once you're finished with your gas locker, you can close that down and close it like so. We always recommend you have 2 gas bottles, because if you run out on one you can change over to the other, and we'll do that at the end of the demonstration and show you how to disconnect the bottle and what you would do and check when you change over to the other one. Next we're going to discuss is the airframe, all the equipment here that connects to your car. Now there's quite a lot here to take in and take on board, but don't worry, because when you get here to collect your caravan, we will spend all the time to demonstrate it, show you it working, etc, etc. So first things first, we've already discussed the jockey wheel. We can wind the jockey wheel up, and when we've finished it comes up into the elongated slot, remove the handle, and I can set that into the position, into its stored position for travelling. Once I get there, to remove it from my car, I wind it down, lift the front of my caravan up, and then that will lift the handle, it'll remove it off the tow ball of the tow vehicle. So that's your jockey wheel, and it allows your van to move around on that jockey wheel there. The next thing we come across is our handbrake, which is sat here like so. No buttons to press, just push it down. It won't move because the legs are down on the van, but we always leave it on like so. When we're travelling, there's the alarm sounded because I've moved the van. It's jiggled the van. 2 beeps and it's cancelled it. Okay, so connected to the base of the handbrake is what's called a breakaway cable, and that will come round and go round the ball of the van, or click onto an eye on your tow vehicle. Once you've done that, the whole idea is, should your caravan become detached from your tow vehicle, it'll snatch at that, pulling your handbrake on and then stopping your caravan in a straight controlled manner until you realize it's missing and go back to collect it. So that's then your handbrake and breakaway cable. The next thing we come to is our 13-pin electric socket here. So this will go into the key on your 13-pin socket on your car, normally comes up and over and twist on and into position. With that on and twisted in, that then gives me all the power from my tow vehicle to do various jobs on the caravan. Its primary source is to do my side lights, indicators, brake lights, reversing lights, etc, etc. It's got 3 other sources that come through that cable run as well. One is it will operate the ATC, automatic traction control, to help and assist with your braking, with the braking of your car to your caravan, to give you the safest possible towing experience you can get. The second thing it will do is it will operate the fridge when you're travelling with the engine running, and we'll discuss that more in detail very shortly. And also it will charge your leisure battery when we're travelling from A to B, C to D, and we will discuss that in more depths shortly as well. So that is your electrics on there, and then you've got your point here for connecting to the tow ball of your tow vehicle. So once you lower this down onto the ball of your tow vehicle, that handle will slam shut and lock into place. What we then want to do is raise that jockey wheel and watch the back of your tow vehicle raise. When the tow vehicle raises up, lower it back down, store your jockey wheel away. You know that's fully on, fully connected. Once you've done that, get the black handle there and firmly push that down onto the tow ball of your tow vehicle. That is your Alco stabilising head unit, and inside there are 4 plastic thrust pads, left, right, front and back, and they minimise the pitch and roll and the sway from left to right. So that's what that does. Now, it's of paramount importance that you clean your tow ball off to right shiny steel prior to coming to collect your caravan. Okay, so it needs to be stripped. If you've had a new tow ball fitted, it'll be painted lovely black, it'll look beautiful, but you need to get brutal and emery cloth it all back and scour it back to its bright shiny steel, because that's the only way that you'll minimise damage to the pads, and for that also to work at 100% efficiency to give you that best towing experience. Okay, So that's your stabilising head unit. All of this again will be discussed with you on the day, and we'll help you connect up and show you how to do it so you're never in doubt. This caravan comes with a hitch lock sat here. That hitch lock has got a security ball in there, so when it's not in use, that goes in there like so. There's a little lip here. That lip fits underneath the handle like so, and then there is a heavy duty steel pin. The long thin key like so goes into there, release, and then I can put that in to that side there like so, and that into there, and that will lock off, and that now secures that so nobody can come up, hook it up and take it away. And that lock comes with this caravan. Coming up and round the other side, the first thing we come across here is our water barrel. Now there are several things you'll need to purchase. This being one of them is known as an aqua roll. This aqua roll is a water barrel. It's 40 litres, so when you get on site you go away, fill it up, come back, stand it here, put your water pump that's supplied with a caravan in and plug it into the side of the van. So when I operate a tap in the van now, it will take the water from the barrel into the van and through the system, as you will see when we get inside the caravan very shortly. We briefly touched on a battery. This here is a leisure battery. This leisure battery on this caravan does lots of things. It gives you the 12 volt power. All your lights run off 12 volt, your igniters, your water pumps 12 volt, your motor mover runs off the leisure battery. So all of this is used via your leisure battery. When we're plugged into mains electric, then that operates a charger which charges the leisure battery off 240 volt mains. If I'm in a field in the middle of nowhere, everything will still work in there off the leisure battery. The other thing is, when you're plugged into mains, I can operate items of equipment on 240 volts, i.e. my fridge, heating, etc. will operate on 240 volt when I'm plugged in, otherwise they'll operate on gas. Also, that battery will charge when you are travelling from A to B, C to D, etc. with your tow vehicle engine running. So with your tow vehicle engine running, that leisure battery will charge from the electrics of your tow vehicle. Also, this caravan has got a solar panel on the roof. That solar panel on a day like today will take the daylight, the sunlight, they go through a charge controller which regulates the charge, and that solar panel will also charge your battery. So if you go away on a greenfield site with no electric available, you know the solar's going to keep your battery topped up while you're using it. Okay, so that's the three ways of charging your battery. Beside that, we've got the mains lead that we were discussing earlier. So this is again something you'd need to purchase. It's a 25 metre mains lead that plugs in to the van, and the golden rule with this is plug it into your van first because that's dead power, take it away and plug it into your point of electric. When you've finished your journey, disconnect it from your electric and then come back and disconnect it from your caravan. The reason for this is it reduces the risk of harm, injury or electrocution to yourself because you're always dealing with dead power. Disconnect and then disconnect this end. So just to reiterate, into van, into electric, out of electric, out of van. Also, people these days tend to have the 25 metre lead, buy a coiled up drum to coil it all on, coil it all up tight like that and leave it under the van. The risk of that is drawing so much electric through here when you're plugged in that you've got the risk of it overheating the inner cores. So I always strongly recommend that you fake out your mains lead that's remaining alongside your van like so, because that allows a flow through there and reduces the risk of it overheating. As we saw on the locker on the other side, we put that down round through like so, and that drops up into position just like that. So that's your mains lead just there. On the other side there, the easy driver is the isolating key to operate our motor mover, and we'll discuss that when we get to that point of operating the mover. Next thing along here we come to is our external shower. So we can plug our shower in there, we can go all the way through to that position like so, press, and there you can shower the dog, wash your boots, sort your wellies. No different to operating a tap inside the van, okay, because that has come. Now this is hot and cold, that's hot water coming through there now. You might see it steam, but you'll certainly know it because it's burning my hand. You can see the steam coming off it there, okay. No different to operating the tap inside. It's taking the water from the barrel through. You can alter the temperature, so I don't have to burn my hand there so much. There it's now gone down to cold, okay, through and back into the off position like so. Always make sure that it's always drained out, okay, and then you can store that. Again, I would keep it, and I'll put it away in there in a minute in the front locker there. So that's an external shower, seeing it operate into there like so. We've got our wheel and our motor mover that we'll demonstrate at the end, and then we come to our fridge vents. Now when you look at the fridge in a caravan, you'll think that looks very nice, it looks like the one at home. It looks like your one at home, it doesn't operate the same. This works by heating up a liquid and changing it to a gas state, and it's the gas that cools it down by it rising up through and circulating round. It lends the vents in there to ventilate it around the back. And this has got 3 independent heating mediums. So one we've already touched on, which is the 12 volts with our engine running. If I select the sign on the fridge, it will keep my fridge cold and maintain it at temperature when I'm traveling from site to site, A to B, or home to my first site. Its second heating medium is 2 40-volt electrics. When I'm plugged into mains electrics like so, I can change my fridge to electric and it will operate on electric. And the third one is gas. If I've got neither car running and travelling, no electric, I can operate it in a field in the middle of nowhere on gas and maintain my fridge. And we'll show you how to change these over on the fridge when we get inside. The last thing on this side here is our toilet. Now a lot of people worry about the toilet, but truthfully it's no different going to the toilet in a caravan than going to a toilet at home. Instead of it going down a 6-inch soil pipe, it goes through a 3-inch gate valve into a holding tank. Instead of you having a cistern to flush it, you've got a little header tank sat up here that you manually fill up with fresh water. So you fill it with fresh water and you add a pink additive to it. The pink additive you add gives you a nice fragrant smell when you flush the toilet. It lubricates the internal pump that's in that tank, and it also mixes with the chemical that we put in the toilet cassette down here all very nicely. So when we finish, we want to empty the tank, or when it's full, we lift the handle up and we extract the tank like so. Once I've extracted the tank, if it doesn't come out with the ease I've just demonstrated, it's because somebody has left the handle over inside the van, which we'll see when we go inside. And that means that what you see is that if somebody's done and left it open like so, you will not get that toilet out. So go in, close it, and it will extract with the ease I've done. Once it's extracted and you've got it out, you can either lift the handle and wheel it off, or you can carry it by hand to what's known as an Elson point, waste disposal for your toilet. When you get there, give it a good old shake up, remove the cap like so, placing it somewhere safe, pressing the air release button and emptying the contents of the tank into the tank. Once you've done that, every point you go to will have a fresh water hose. Wash it, clean it out, dry it out to the level and standard of cleanliness as you require it to be. Once you've done that, come back to your van and then charge your toilet ready for use, and you do that by adding 75 ml of blue liquid chemical to your toilet cassette. And then if you read the good book, it will also tell you to add 2 litres of water. With me, the way I am, I tend to put my glug couple of blue in there and put it in if I'm using it, because I will soon dilute it down myself. If I'm laying it up until the following weekend when I'm out, I just do that and flush the toilet, put a little bit of liquid down it. In the winter, if I'm not using it at all, clean it, bleach it, disinfect it to how you want it, and don't put anything in till you start again next season. So then we can put that away, handle in, turn the spout round like so, and that's away. Now you'll hear us talk quite a lot about winterization and winterizing your van. We know we've got water in that tank. Okay, that water in there, we also know that fresh water when it freezes expands. Little pump in there, it will damage it, split it and break it. So we need to empty that tank, and we do that by lifting up the black hose just underneath there, nip that like so, and then I can then empty down the contents of my tank to ground from there. Now I tend to transfer this into a gallon container, because also you should recommend that you do empty this prior to travelling. Okay, it's quite a bit of back end weight on there, so we're going to leave the rest of that in there for a moment, okay, and show you how the toilet flushes. All right, but after that it will all be emptied and drained down. It's a habit you need to get into, especially in those winter months. It is critical. It will cause you damage if you don't. Once you finish, simply close up your locker door like so and lock it, and you're ready to go. I'm going to leave that down because it's going to remind me to empty my toilet. Coming through here, there's the other two grab handles, your lighting arrangements there and there, back of your caravan, round through to the other side here, and we come through to a storage compartment there which comes down, and you can see through there plenty of storage under the single bed in the rear. The pipe work running through here is the pipe work there, all for my to protect my pipes when I'm putting my chairs, tables, windbreaks, etc. in there. With that locked and closed, I can now put the key in and lock that from the central locking position, and that's locked. Done the handle. Your boiler on this van is sat just around about here, and it flues vertically up through the roof, as we will discuss shortly. Well, we know the alarm's gone off, so we know it's not going to make me jump, so now we can go inside and leave the door open like so. Put the keys on the shelf, come into the van, and I'm going to place that in the handbook pack, as I said, just down into there with all the handbooks that it's been supplied with. And when you come to collect your van, you'll find that sat underneath there on that cushion. So you've got a little table there to sit and eat at, and you've also got a full size freestanding table, which we'll see when we go around the van. So what we're going to do is go around again in a clockwise direction, pull that handle like so to give you access into that cupboard, over into that cupboard there, and you've got your Sony CD radio player there. Okay, there you go. Coming out through your speakers, on and off is the SRC button in the top, which will switch it off there, and we can remove the faceplate like so. And again, that ends up in your handbook pack with everything else as well. Okay, so that's where you will find the faceplate for your radio. Coming through, we've got a reading light in the front there, which is switched from a little rocker switch, but I can direct that around there like so, and the same on the one on the other side. I've got my mood lights thrumming through each side, and the one across the top, and that's controlled from the banker switches there, which we'll do in a minute, as is that one there. All your windows in here, blinds, all operate the same, and they're all on what's known as a click-clack stay. So you go out, click, and it stays in position. You've got a fly screen, which is one position only, all the way down or all the way up, and then you've got your blackout blind, which you can strategically stop, so you can vent and shade, watch your telly, read a book, but still get ventilation through. And then all the way out and all the way back will allow the window to close. And all these windows do the same, with the exception of the big skylight at the front. Now again, lockable buttons, push the button in like so, okay, and that will release that, and there, and then that window will lift up Okay, not very high, but just enough to get your ventilation in there. And these have got little thumb screws on that you turn and lock off like so. With it vented there, you can then put your fly screen down like so, and then from there you can come back up. So you've also got a blackout blind in there as well to black out at night or to close down, or you can vent and shade as we discussed earlier on, so that you can shade that to watch the telly, etc. When you're finished, just support it in the middle with your hand because it's quite a weight, and then go around and make sure that all your window catches, all 6 of them, are closed like so. Here we said we got our dining room with the table there, also our lounge, but it also doubles up, okay, as your bedroom area. And what we're just going to do is just going to take that off of there like so, because here we can slide the bed base over there like that, and then if we tip that upside down that way, and then that back comes off there like so, I can then make that up into a bed like that. Same on the other side, and it gives you a big bed. I don't necessarily need to do that particularly. I can also, that's not fixed, that will drop down there also, so I can still have that down like that and have a huge double bed doing the little cushions on the corner. So you've got plenty of options for visitors to stop over. It gives you a big bedded area. Once you're finished with this, then you just flick that back over and then put the back in. I'm just going to leave that off so we can all see what's going on under here, okay, because that goes back like so. And there, that's the back of the box that we saw from outside, but you can see you've got plenty of storage in and around there as well. Now the chrome pipe that's coming round and through there is all part and parcel of the heating system, as we will discuss very shortly. That drops into there to make it up, drops into there. The back comes round like so, then your armrest drops into there, then you've got a nice fancy cushion, that'll drop into the middle, more storage underneath there. There's the part for your alarm there, okay. But what I want to really do is get onto this other side here, because there's a little bit more going on underneath here. So there we are, lift the seat up, and then here we have got the back of the battery box area here, okay. So that's the back side of the battery box area there. If I just pull that little bit there and drop that down, there is all my 12-volt electrics coming in through to my battery charger, which charges my leisure battery there, coming in off the mains. All my 12-volt fuses are sat in there, all identifiable on of what they are. So you've got alarm, water, van battery, etc, etc, okay, and then your electric distribution for all your 12 volts. That can then go back up like so. Battery box down through there to our motor mover control box, and that's the mover control box that controls my motor mover, which we will discuss when we do that. And then through there we then come down to our solar panel charge controller, so that regulates the charge from my solar panel down through to my battery, okay, which is independently fused on there like so, and that's your feed into your leisure batteries. Down through the front there, the little valve, the little white one just here, okay, that is my pressure switch. So that's the switch there to regulate the pressure of my taps, and I operate that by it's quite voltage sensitive, so to check the pressure I screw that all the way down and then open it back up. The pump will run. Once the pump stops, take it back quarter of a turn. It's already preset, you shouldn't have to do anything with it, but just in case you do, okay. And then water drain valve just there, which will drain the cold leg of your system down. Okay, so seat down, like so, and we can now put it all back together. You can see you've got a 240-volt socket there, and this e-trailer box is being fitted by a previous owner that comes down. All the instructions are for it in the handbook, but basically it's an app you can app to your phone, and it will tell you such things as battery levels, level of van, etc, etc. So there's quite a little bit of stuff to learn on that, and there's the barcode in the handbooks there to download if you so choose to want to do so with that. It's just a little bit of additional equipment in there should you wish to want to use it. As I say, it was fitted by the previous owner there. So that's all round the front there done. So we've now seen our lounge, dining, bedroom. Clever things, these caravans. Coming through to our kitchen area here, we can lift the handle there that operates the catch. We've got a nice pull-out storage there for cans. We've got our up-top lockers there for plates and mug rack in there. Push the button before you travel to secure the locker doors. There's a microwave sat in here on this one here. There we go. On, off, and door release. And you can see there's a rotisserie dial in there, a plate in there. All right, so you've got a nice little microwave in there for doing your milky coffees, soups in the winter, etc. Cupboard door down, lock it off before you travel. When you get your van, you'll find that microwave plate will more than likely be in your red handbook pack, so it'll be in there nice and safe and secure. Again, the window operates exactly the same. You've got a nice illuminated splashback area there from the left hand switch, and my downlighters underneath here, okay, from the right hand switch. The 240-volt socket, like the one we saw in the corner, will only be live. You'll only be able to use that for your curlers, straighteners, hair dryers, razors, shavers, kettles, toasters, etc. if you're plugged in with your orange lead to mains electric. Okay, so just remember, only operational when you're on electric. Cutlery drawer and drawer there, so nice self-closed drawer, cutlery drawer and drawer there, and we've got a drop down flap and a storage point underneath there with our two isolating valves for my fridge and for my cooker, as we said, where the gas came in there like so. Underneath the fridge there we have our isolating valve for the fridge. I do beg your pardon. One's for the cooker, one's for the hob on here. That's the one for the fridge, and another storage underneath my fridge there like so. If I open the door up on this side, we come through, and that's where my boiler is sat in behind there, and down there is the isolating kit for the boiler, and that will drain my boiler to ground there, so that will put the hot water in my boiler to ground, and that will drain the cold water leg in my van as well. And we're going to do all this at the end, okay, because we'll winterize the van, so we'll go through all that at the end with you. Another storage there. There's your freestanding table with your chopping board and draining board, which fit on the side of the sink there. So while I'm down there, again, we've got another storage underneath there, so you've got loads of storage in this van. I've got my oven. Light it, go round, gas it, hold it in, ignite it, light, wait till it gets a little warm, release, and set the temperature that you want. Some 120 through to 240. Okay, down with that one. The grill, exactly the same, maximum, gas it. There we are. Light it and ignite it, and there's your grill on, minimum through to maximum, so you can have it cooler or hotter. Up through, and all your hobs identified there. Press, gas, light, ignite, hold, release. Press, gas, light, ignite, hold and release. And the same with the final one all going up in graduated sizes, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, they will all go down to a simmer ring and they'll all go back to maximum. Okay, and then round through into the off position, and once we're finished, little hob top comes down and makes that look all very nice and lovely. Over to the fridge. We come to our fridge here. As we said, beautiful fridge, all your shelving arrangements, your top there. We've even made ice to show you that we've got ice in the fridge there. Okay, comes with its own ice cube maker as well. All right, little lights light up down. We can spin that through, which closes your fridge completely, or you can set that over like so, and it will allow you to ventilate the fridge to stop any bacterial mildew growth build up in the fridge. Okay, so it's got a fridge locking mechanism on there like so. The controls for your fridge are up across the top here, and you can see it doesn't show anything. It's because you need to press that grey button just there, and you can then see it lights it up. I've got a flame there, so it shows that I'm using the fridge on gas, and that's showing my temperature. If I press and hold that grey button, it'll start to flash. Once that flashes, the arrow will scroll through, so I can have my fridge on automatic, which means it will automatically select what it wants, or I can manually select the 240 like so, or manually select the battery like so. Well, if I selected the battery, I'd get an alarm come up. Let's just do that. Okay, it's alarming because I'm not connected to my tow vehicle and my engine's not running. So if I then go through to gas and select it, then it will go and we will be fine. Press and hold it again, and what we'll do is we'll go through to the automatic mode now. There, okay, press that. The next one is my temperature, so I can go from minimum through to maximum. Press it, that sets it automatic, selected electric, and I'm at half temperature. Automatic's ideal to go into, because if I was to lose electric, okay, that would automatically change over to gas. Once it's automatically changed over to gas, if I got electric restored, it'll come back to electric. So if you go out for the day, when it's on automatic, it's great. You know it's just going to change over and change back. The same when you're finished, you take your electric off, you finish with your gas, it will automatically change over to your vehicle while you are traveling. Okay, so you've got the automatic setting on there. Once you're finished with it, press and hold the button, and the fridge is now switched off, and another little storage cupboard up the top there. So that's your fridge. Taps, well, we know we had hot water outside, but we'll just prove that we've got it inside as well, because what we're going to do, run that tap there. Now it'll take a little while because the boiler's over here, and it's got to come all the way around the van to get to this point here. But we know it's going to get hot. There we go, because we had hot water coming out of our shower. And there we start to defrost that. I've got to be careful because it's burning my fingers, and you can see the steam coming off it there. There we are. And if I was to hold it under, you can see it's steam. If I mix it like so, then I can put my hand under and melt the ice at the same time. And that's running around about the 60 degrees. Okay, so we've seen hot water in our shower, we've seen it in our kitchen, so we're guaranteed to have it through our wash hand basin and our shower. Okay, so there is your hot and cold working, and your sink plugs just sat on there like so, off and into your sink. So we've now covered the kitchen area. Our remaining skylights through here, press, that will come up like so, and then I can strategically put that into vented places, and they've all got blackouts and fly screens, so I can shut off at night and ventilate in the day. A little bit more going on inside the cupboard over here. We touched on the boiler down below. Here's your TV aerial, so you can slacken that, and you can raise that TV aerial all the way up This is the biggest and the best on the marketplace. If I just go outside, you'll actually see how high up through the roof that one goes. There you go. So you should be able to get a picture on that, no problem. Okay, once you're done with it, then you retract it, the red dot facing towards you, all the way down till it won't come down anymore, down to that position there, locking it off on the collar there like so, and on the clamp on the side there. And that just allows you to put that up and direct it. And there on the booster is a satellite finder, so even in that down position, that's giving you maximum range. It'll give you best picture on there. And the aerial comes up through the booster and out through to the two TV points. I can switch the booster on and off by a switch on the top left hand button just up there. This tank here is the header tank for my boiler being sat just underneath here. Okay, so that header tank, it's a closed system. It's the best system on the marketplace. It takes the water, heats it in the boiler, puts it all around through the pipework system that we saw just there, and comes back here to the tank, back down to the boiler, reheats and back round. And all the time that's on, it'll fumble and bubble around. You can see the level sat just in there like so. It doesn't want to be too high because it's got the risk of when it gets hot, it expands, bubble through there. Sat on the roof of here is a Wi-Fi dish sat up there, okay, with the Wi-Fi adapters on here. Now you need to get yourself a Wi-Fi card if you wanted to use it, register and put your card in, and that would give you Wi-Fi through the unit that's on here. There is some information in the handbooks on that, but that's a Wi-Fi unit being pre-fitted, but you do need a card like a phone card to go in there, so you'd need to purchase that on a monthly subscription to get your Wi-Fi to your caravan. And sat in the back side here is our 240 volt electrics, and there's our master RCD and our MCBs for air heating, hot water, fridge, and sockets there, okay, are all identified through there. Okay, and we can test that. If we press the button, that's tripped. Now if I was to press that and that didn't trip like that, it means I've got no power to my van, so I've got no power coming in from an outside source. So that's a good idea to test that. One of the most frequently asked questions is people's got on site and they've got no electric. 99.9% of the time is the fact is that they've got no electric from the post they've plugged into on the site. But if you press and check that, if it doesn't drop like I just demonstrated, you can go straight off to your warden and say, look, I haven't got any electric there, can you help me out please? We now come through to your lovely 2 single bedroom area. We've got a concertina shut off across there, so you can shut off the front from the rear if you so wanted to. Your light switch there does the 3 downlighters in that corner just there. And very nicely, this bed has got a ratchet on it, so I can actually prop it up, read my book, lean forwards, pull it all the way up and release it and drop it back down again. Also I can spin it up there like so and lift that, and there is the access underneath there for storage, and that's what we saw from outside over that side just there. The one on the other side does exactly the same. Okay, that's got my carpets in it for the van, but that there allows me storage access only from inside the caravan, and that does exactly the same with your bed shelves just upside there. And then you've got your cupboards overhead. Now the golden rule with your overhead cupboards is I always strongly suggest chocolate crisps and peanuts upstairs, wines, beers and spirits down below. Centre of gravity for your van, lightweight up the top, heavyweight down below. Carbon monoxide detector sat in the bedroom just there, just testing that. Okay, and your bedroom area here, you've got control of your own spotlight there and your mood light on your side. Okay, and on the other side you've got your downlighter and your light just there. 240 volt socket again sat down here, so that you could plug your hairdryer in, curling tongs, razor, shavers, and use a mirror. And you'll see the van's not level because the door falls back on itself. I could have done with being that way slightly. Into the bathroom now, and you come through into the lovely shower area here, and you'll see that you've got water will come through, hot through to there, and we will get hot through. Okay, there we are, nice and hot, guaranteed to be hot because it's hot everywhere else. Into the closed position there like so, and I tend to leave that just laid on the floor for the moment. That towel rail there is a radiator coming off the heating system. Nice lights and a mirror in your shower room, and this is what's known as a tilt and turn. Rock and roll skylight up and down like so, so that it'll naturally ventilate no matter what way the wind's blowing or coming in. You can sit it there and still allow that humidity out while you're showering. Little blackout screen on there comes across like so and back up, clicks into position with a hanging rail, and then you've got your shower door that comes across there and there like that, and gives you your shower compartment. Okay, so that's clips back there, and then a little turnbuckle to hold it back in there. Your wash hand basin there, all very state of the art, very lovely. Down to two doors there which comes through, could give you access for an understorage cabinet, and then you've got storage either side there. Towel rail, heat will rise through there. Another mirror there, your window which operates the same, which is frosted but still got the fly screen and the blackout blind on there. And then we come to our toilet, and to operate our toilet, we said it's no different to being in your bathroom at home. There is one small difference, this one will swivel, but you don't need to, that's giving you the best possible position there. We lift up the toilet seat like so, and there the lever allows me to drain the toilet. It's there. So whether I choose to sit or stand, I go to the toilet, I press my flush button just there like so, and I open the gate like that, thus emptying the contents of the tank on my toiletries into the tank down below. Once that's done, give it chance to drain away and drain down into the toilet, and then close it over, thus keeping the smells in the toilet and not in your van, and allowing the operator the ease to remove the toilet first time every time. Okay, so always remember to do that. We'll polish this up, clean it all up, shine it back. So there we are, and then once you're done, lid down, all done and dusted. Switches for your lights, that one will do the lights there, that one does my lights above there like so. Always make sure everything's secured prior to travelling, okay, including that door there. Coming through, I've got my smoke detector in the front here, okay, and then coming down to my light switches here. That lower one just there does my mood lights. That one does my two entrance lights. That one does my three lights above there, and the next one does my outside awning light. Okay, now if I was to leave all of those on like so, I've also got a master switch, so I can knock all my lights off on the master switch like that. So if I've gone out to the pub, mail, all I've got to do, press that one switch, all comes back on. Okay, so just for letting you know, that's your master switch there. Leisure battery voltage showing you there, 13.5, that's about right. And then we come up to our Aldi heating control panel. So here it's showing me my external temperature 17, internal temperature 25, and I'm connected to mains electric. If I press the menu button, that comes up to the front screen. If I now press my room thermostat, basically, I can go all the way up to 30 degrees. I'm just going to go up to there, because when I now go back, what I'll see in a moment is the heater has started to operate. The little circulating pump in the corner is showing it's running. Okay, so that's now my heater trying to get me from 25.5 degrees to 29 that I've set it. The next one down is my hot water. I can go from off to where I've just been, which is 60 degrees of hot water. If I press that again, that's gone into boost. Now, boosting my hot water means it's overridden my heating. So my recirculating pump's gone off, or my circulating pump's gone off for my heating. I'm not heating the van now. I'm solely concentrating on my hot water. If I go back to that position there, you'll find that the pump's cut in. So I'm now heating my hot water and I'm heating my van at the same time. Okay. Power, the little lightning strike there is my 240 volt electric. If I'm on 240 volt, I can switch it off. I can have 1 kilowatt, 2 kilowatts or 3 kilowatts of electric. The bottom left hand corner is my gas. Green is on, blue is off. On and off from there. If I then go into the bottom corner settings, I don't want to get too carried away in here. It's all a bit confusing to explain. The books will tell you all about it, and if you get into advancement and you want to go into it, you can, but we want to make sure the priority is electric. So that means that when the van's up to temperature, if I'm using it on gas and electric, it's going to prioritize electric, operate on electric and drop out the gas. I've got all sorts of things such as setting the backlight screen, brightness, etc. Anything that's grey isn't active, and then I can go into the circulating pump, I can go into timers, okay, none of which we want to do. The only other one you're really interested in is reset, because then if you do get yourself in a kerfuffle with it, you can reset the whole unit and go back to basics and start again. Just to recap, all that you're really interested in is your room temperature there, which we're going to take back to something sensible, okay, for when you collect your van, 19. Your hot water, we've just said, is boost, on or off. We're going to switch the electric off and the gas is off. Now to switch the whole unit off, press and hold the button, and there is my Audi heating system switched off. Down here is my 12 volt pump. So if I was to operate switch the pump off, the pump now stops running, switch the pump back on, pump cuts in, gives me water. We want to switch that off now, okay, because we're going to drain the system down very shortly. So we've switched off our pump, and beside that is a master switch, and I'm also going to switch that off so that I've now isolated everything 12 volts, so my Leisure battery isn't going to drain at all, because I've got nothing left switched on in the van because my master switch has isolated it. So what are we going to do then? That's just a head of water in there at the moment. What we're going to do now is get ready for the road, but I'm going to talk to you about winterizing your van, which is really, really critical, especially now. Summer's changing, we're going to be getting into those darker months. As soon as frost is imminent, you want to get in the practice of doing this. Okay, so what you do is go out, empty your water barrel, take your water pump out. I'm not going to bob in and out, we'll do that in a minute. Okay, but with that out, we then want to drain our boiler and our fresh water system. Well, as we well know, we saw it earlier, here we want to drain the boiler, so we lift up the yellow lever. That's going to empty that boiler contents down to ground, and we want to drain the fresh water leg, so we lift the lever up there, which will empty the fresh water system to ground. And we also want to drain it on the front one just here by the pump. So if we just go, it might be easier just to go under this one there, because I can lift that up, and there we have it. That one just there, lift that up as well, and that's going to drain all my water system to ground. So that's 3 altogether. One in that front corner, which will drain the cold water leg, one in the boiler cupboard there, the wardrobe, which keeps your clothes nice and warm because the boiler's sat in there also, and the other one is your boiler drain. Once you've done that, you want to go around and open all your taps and set them to the mid position. 1, 2 and 3, and they need to be left open halfway. The reason for that is, we said earlier, water expands when it freezes. Okay, if you don't open those and it freezes, then the risk of it is the water's going to come here. It can't come out the end when it's frozen, so it's going to go back and rupture all your pipes and fittings and things. Although they look very domesticated, all of the fittings and equipment in here is plastic, push fit plastic pipes. It will just burst it. Okay, so that's what needs to happen with that, and that is everything open now and drained down. So we're now in a winterized state. So what are you going to do when you collect your van for the first time? You're all excited, going on holiday, okay, and you get there. Well, the first thing you need to do is get your barrel, take it off, fill it up with water as we discussed earlier, fetch it back via your van, put the pump in and plug it into the side of your caravan. Once you've done that, you can come through into your van, go around and close all your taps, 1, 2 and 3, and then get under the seat and close that front the drain in the front that we've just opened, and close the 2 in here. So from the vertical upright position, they need to go to the parallel to the floor position, 1, 2 and 3. So once they're all done like so, then we can then start our pump, put the master switch on, put the pump on, and then come to our kitchen tap, open it in the cold position and move it through to the hot position. Now what's going to happen is the pump's going to run, it's going to take and draw water from the barrel, it's going to push it through the system all the way through to the boiler, and then it's going to push the air out of the boiler all the way out through your tap at this end. It's going to take 5 or 6 minutes for this to happen, which is when I tend to go out, do my toilet flush tank, and then come back. By the time I've come back from doing that, I should then have a constant flow of cold water coming out through the hot side of the tap. Once I've got a constant flow of hot water coming through the cold water coming through the hot side of the tap, I can then shut that tap and go and do exactly the same to my shower and wash hand basin. Once that's done, that's known as the system being purged and primed. With the system then being purged and primed and ready to go, okay, I can then come along, put my Audi panel on, switch it on from there, go into the menu and put my hot water on. What you don't want to do is leave your hot water on there and have an empty boiler. Bit like boiling a kettle dry, unfortunately. So always be aware of that. However, you can operate your heating without water in there because it's a different system. It's a closed system. It's heating the water as it's pumping it around, very much like your central heating system at home. Okay, so we're finished inside now. What we're going to do is go around the outside, and we are going to disconnect our water barrel for the first time now. Okay, so we'll disconnect that because everything else is done, and we should have done this before. We give that a pull like so and drain like so, and I've left my cloth somewhere, more than likely in the van, and I could have just done with my cloth to take that from there. Then we can wipe your pump down, open your front locker, and then inside there we can put your pump and your shower, external shower, with your airframe cover and your grey water hose. I can now switch off my gas before I drive off, but I'm actually going to simulate taking the bottle out to refill it and swap over. So with the gas off, I turn that in a clockwise direction, and that then will release that from the bottle. Once I've got out the bottle, I check that the rubber cone on the end, which gives me the tight seal, is intact, and then I would then put that onto my new bottle I've either bought or the second one I've got in here, and then I can pick this one up and take it out. I'm just going to put this over here ready for the next one. Okay, so that is how you would change a bottle and what to check for. Well, we're going to hitch up to go because we're finished, so we're going to take the hitch lock off. So we do exactly roles reversed on that. We put the key in, we remove like so. I always tend to make it all back up once I'm finished with it, so I lock everything in place. That way we tend to lose nothing, like so. And then it all comes in a nice little bag there that can drop into there. Lift the handle and remove the added security ball there. Okay, and then we'll drop that into the front locker there also. So I can now empty my water barrel. I'm going to leave it full for the next van, but you can empty that, wipe it, clean it and store it away, and then close down the flap on the side of the van. My colleagues just told me he's tripped the electric, so I'm quite safe to pull this end out. I can then remove that from the van like so, and you would then coil this up and store it away, and not forgetting you've got plenty of areas to store this under the bed from outside on the other side there, or you've got in the black cupboard on the front. Okay, so there's plenty of places you can coil that up and store that. With this van here, I can put the door up and now lock it and close it. The battery on here stops on here because there's a solar panel. There's no guarantee given with that battery. Okay, we don't give a guarantee with it. It's on the van, it'll stay on the van. It's a very good battery. It might last you 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 3 years, 4 years. We just honestly don't know, but it's a really good battery that's already on there for you. Okay. The other thing you do is take your grey water barrel. Okay, no, I didn't mention this, did I? Your wastewater, your grey hose that you've got in the front locker, all right, fits into the 2 outlet points just there and there, and that goes into a waste master that you would need to purchase alongside your aqua roll, and that collects all the grey water from your wash hand basin, shower and kitchen sink, and that's what's come out through there to ground when I've been doing the test, and that is just sat underneath there. Okay, so that grey water hose that you've got in the front locker, you would cut up, chop, put a T-piece in down into the waste master that you would need. Okay, lastly, your step you'd put away inside the van. Again, I'm just going to move that outside there. That's an additional security lock for your wheels, which I'm going to show you in a minute because there's a little tip and a trick to that. Now what we're going to do is operate the motor mover. So the first thing I want to do, this is what's known as an auto engage motor mover. So the first thing I want to do is power up the box that we saw under the seat. We lift that lid up like so, in, turn it clockwise, and that's now taken power direct from my Leisure battery direct through to my motor mover control box. I then press the 2 green buttons together like so, leave and wait till I get a steady green light on the top. Once I've got a steady green light on the top there, I then want to engage my mover, and I do that by pressing the middle button and the top right hand button like so, and then it starts to flash. The mover starts to engage the roller to the tyre. This is the only time you need to be patient. Don't interfere with it and don't get too carried away with it. Wait for it to finish its cycle before you do anything. You can hear it going on there. You think it's finished, but please don't press any buttons, because what this will do is it's still flashing, it's finding its point of rest, and then it'll flash 5 times and a steady green light. With a steady green light, it means then I'm ready to remove my handbrake. But just before I do, one thing I forgot to do was go around and take up all my corner steadies. I'm going to cheat because I'm going to use this extension in the drill like so. So just bear with, I'm just going to run round and take up all 4 of these, one, and that will then allow us to move the van. Okay, and at this point we don't need anybody else in the van because it's now not stabilized any. Okay, so last one coming up. There we are. So I can now release the handbrake because the rollers that we've engaged on the motor mover are holding it in place. If I swing the handset round like so, the A-frame's pointing forwards, and now I can move my caravan forwards. I can turn a corner by swinging it to the left, keeping an eye on it at all times, or to the right. I can turn it on its own axis by pressing the 2 and the movers, and you can see it goes a little bit faster. I can reverse it to exactly where I want it. I can actually connect it up to the tow vehicle, to my tow vehicle. If I've got the ball just sat there, I need to line that up onto there, and I can move it with pinpoint accuracy to line that up, then lower it down, and it'll click onto the tow ball of our tow vehicle. So I can also park this, okay, close to a wall, right back to a wall, without pushing it, shoving it. I'm in total control of it. The reason I've just didn't discuss this earlier, this is what's called an Alcor Secure wheel lock. And with this Alcor Secure wheel lock, what happens is that goes into a preset behind the yellow plug there, a preset plug point. So I need to get that central to put this on. And if I do it on the mover, it's so much easier, and I can see there, that's about the middle, just there. Okay, so then once I've got it there, I can then put my lock in place. And this is the highest security lock on the marketplace. That drops in. It's got a one-time coded key there that fits in, independent. That'll go onto there like so. That yellow plug comes out, that lines up there, in, and then I would bolt that in through there. Once that's into its housing point, release that, put it back into there like so, and then with this one here, key fits in there, releases the ball bearings, that goes in flush, and again that then locks the bolt in place, and then the little dust cover goes on the end like so. So just to show and prove that works well, that is on the key there, in, and by turning that it releases those balls there and drops into position, in, and there you go. So not only is it bolted in, it's also locked in as well. And to remove it, little serrated edge, just put your nail in it there. He says, there we go, remove. Okay, that's that out, unbolt it, and there you have that all set up like so. Backed into the locked, there's your little dust cap into there. The 2 keys are on there, and on the end that little yellow cap will just be in there thumb tight, or you just need a large blade screwdriver, but it's just in there hand tight. Okay, I've just slackened that off by hand. All right, so that's the Alcor Secure that comes also with this caravan. Okay, so now we're all locked up, we can now remove our motor mover. First things first, we want to put the handbrake on, then we press the middle button and the top left, which is the red, showing it coming off. You can hear it turning and whirring. So that's now taking that motor mover off. And again, we need to be really patient, okay, until we get one constant green light on there. So while we're waiting for that constant green light to come on and we're looking at it, we'll just come in round and put that also in the front for you. Okay, 5 flashes, because it just goes into a park position. What it does is it takes it off the end stop. Now, what so many people do with the auto engages is the minute it's off, you switch it off. It's jam back tight. When you come to use it next time, it more than likely won't engage. If it doesn't engage, what you need to do is get down underneath, and there's a little clear plug in the end. Remove that plug, that 7mm box spanner will go on the end, and you can manually wind that on and off with the use of that handle, okay, independently, one either side. Okay, now you're finished, you can switch your handset off, press the button, and it's off there like so, switched off. Store that down. This is where you'll find it when you come to collect your van. It'll all be just inside the door there. And then last but not least, round we come and de-isolate the mover box, take the isolating key out, and also keep it all together. We'll put that there like so also. And there we have it. We've seen the mover, we've seen all the equipment, we've talked about winterization. That's us all come to an end. I'd like to thank you for watching and purchasing from us at Viscount Leisure. My name's been Chris. Thank you very much and goodbye.